Battle through the firmament. Great world. Chapter 512. The great battle had arrived. Nearly 100 Monarch Emperor warriors. My God, are these 6 men really crazy? They're simply taking out all their belongings. It seems like these guys have been thinking about Yunlo Academy for a long time. The death of the Spirit King is just an excuse. However, Yunlo Academy has never had any grudges with these people. There are no conflicts of interest between them. Why would they suddenly issue a challenge? This is interesting. I estimate that the Dark Nether will be the ones to push the matter further. Otherwise, these people won't dare to face the 2 elders of Yunlo Academy, Chibai and Old Mu. On a distant mountain peak, many people were watching the 6 groups of people leaving. Discussions and debates were heard everywhere. All kinds of speculations came from the mouths of these people. While the crowd was discussing among themselves, there were naturally quite a number of people who were planning their own thoughts. They merely hesitated for a moment before quietly following behind. This kind of battle was something they had never seen in many years. If a real fight broke out, regardless of which side won, it would be a great spectacle for them. He really came, a reckless fellow. In the outer courtyard of Yunlo Academy, Su Jiang stood with his hands behind his back. He stood at the front and looked into the distance. There, a huge wave of qi was slowly surging over, causing the sky to be filled with dark clouds and the pressure of the formation. There was no expression on Su Jiang's face, and he was surrounded by it. However, his qi was slowly rising. It was as deep as an abyss and incomparably strong. At this moment, all the outer court students and instructors had been sent into the inner court. Even the elders who had yet to reach the Monarch Emperor level had been moved into the inner court. If this battle really began, those below the Monarch Emperor would not be able to fight back at all. The Academy's defensive formation has been activated. It won't be so easy for them to break it. Elder Shao stood beside Su Jiang. His eyes were slightly narrowed, and there was a trace of anger in them. Moreover, after obtaining the reward from the heavens, the Academy's attack formation has been successfully activated. It's impossible for them to take a step forward without paying a price. After hearing Elder Shao's words, all the Monarch Emperor level elders behind him had solemn expressions. Shaoyan is cultivating, and Wu Shaoqi is also cultivating the Fire Emperor scripture in the realm in Valley. The reputation of the realm in Valley will still depend on you. A few young men and women stood beside the elders. They were the students of the realm in Valley. At this moment, Su Qingwu's coquettish eyes moved slightly. She looked at Shaoyi and said with a smile, "I really didn't come back at the right time." Shaoyi crossed his arms in front of his chest. When he heard Su Qingwu's words, he smiled and teased her. Then, he looked at Yuan Tianmu and said in a deep voice, "You 2 are not far from Monarch Emperor, right? If we work together, we should be able to deal with 2 Monarch Emperor warriors." Yuan Tianmu was wearing a white robe. He stood straight and had a handsome face. When he heard what Su Qingwu said, he just smiled and said with a sigh, "If Mu Yuyang and Lin Dao were still here, with their abilities, each of them would be able to fight at least 3 Monarch Emperor warriors. It's a pity. 3 of them." Shaoyi nodded slightly. His eyes sparkled, and the image of Shaoyan appeared in his mind. "I wonder how many of them that guy can handle. I wonder how strong he will become after absorbing the source of flame spirit." Shaking his head, a smile suddenly emerged on Shaoyi's face. He thought of the fellow who had caused all the elders of the Xiao clan to be unable to eat or drink. Xiao Tianye. Some of the elders in the family must be very happy that he was able to take away the great profound strong wind thunder from the Thunder Cloud clan by force. If the elders of the Xiao clan knew about this, they might not gloat over it. After all, the Thunder Cloud clan without the great profound strong wind thunder was much weaker than the Xiao clan. Previously, the Xiao clan couldn't do anything to the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame, but the great profound strong wind thunder was one of the treasures that the Thunder Cloud clan relied on the most. "Where's Grandma Bai?" Frowning, Elder Wu looked around and asked carefully. "She is protecting Elder Qi." It can also be said that she is a trump card. Just in case the people of the dark world intervene. Elder Shao's eyes were gloomy. The murderous aura around the forest where Yunlo Academy was located was getting stronger and stronger. Elder Wu nodded silently. He had already expected that the Dark Abyss would intervene. Otherwise, these 6 people would not have the courage to do so. The Dark Nether isn't the only one that needs to be careful. There are others as well. Su Jiang smiled coldly and suddenly said, "Are you trying to push the wall down? I want to see who fell first." Elder Wu clenched his fists tightly in his sleeves. He gritted his teeth and spoke in a cold voice. "They are here." Before he finished his words, Su Jiang's sharp voice suddenly resounded across the entire scene. Everyone's eyes looked towards the sky in the distance. Over there, the voices of hundreds of people stopped in midair. They were like a black cloud pressing down on the city, bringing with them an indescribable sense of oppression. What a grand gesture! So many Monarch Emperor warriors. Elder Shao stroked his beard and snorted coldly. The top 10 gangs of the chaotic 100 clans had joined forces and sent out their full force. It was reasonable that there were so many Monarch Emperor warriors. Black Nether Emperor didn't come. Elder Lu of the Pill Association's gaze was like a bolt of lightning. His majestic soul power swept out. That old fellow is probably waiting as well. Elder Wu's face was ashen. Even though he was separated by the great defensive formation, he could still feel this unparalleled pressure. He had never seen such a scene before. This sudden fierce battle caused him to feel extremely nervous. The capital of chaos isn't big enough for all of you. How dare you have designs on Yunlo Academy? I say, all of you must be tired of living. Su Jiang leapt into the sky and looked coldly at the 6 people standing in front of them. Elder Su, you are still as tough as ever. I just don't know if you can still be so arrogant after your turtle shell is broken. A burly man wearing beast skin clothes was topless, and his eyes were blood red. He looked like a madman, and he snorted disdainfully at Su Jiang's words. The burly man was the leader of the blood barbarian tribe, Gu Man. 6 leaders working together. This is a rare sight. This scene was like the death of my son, joining hands to fight the enemy. Elder Shao followed closely behind and soared into the sky, steering the topic. As soon as the words left his mouth, they attracted the laughter of all the sect elders below. The faces of the Monarch Emperor higher-ups who were following behind the 6 of them turned ugly as well. They looked at each other with puzzled eyes. Even they didn't know that they, who were usually bitter and hated each other, would suddenly join hands to fight Yunlo Academy. Old man, you are really good at talking. The only female amongst the 6 of them was a beautiful woman emitting a seductive aura. The woman was the sect master of the Heaven's Charming sect, and her name was Yu Mei. She was wearing a red dress, and her chest was half exposed. Her fair and beautiful legs were visible, making her look extremely seductive. When she heard Elder Shao's words, her bright and beautiful voice echoed in the air in a languid manner. Don't talk nonsense with them. I don't believe that this turtle shell can protect you for long. A tall and thin man in a green dragon robe waved his hand. A blood-red light flashed in his eyes, and his voice was cold. He was the sect master of the Azure Dragon sect, who had declared war on Yunlo Academy. He was Shen Kanglong, and his strength was unfathomable. He had always been on good terms with the Spirit Kings. Then, you can give it a try. Su Jiang's voice was filled with anger. He suddenly pressed his palms together, and a majestic origin key rose from his palms. In an instant, it transformed into a boundless white key and merged into the grand formation in front of him. Immediately, the key on the grand formation surged violently, and numerous ripples spread out, injecting powerful origin key into the formation. Break for me. Shen Kanglong stood in front of everyone. He shouted furiously and waved his hand. The 100 Monarch Emperor warriors behind him had already received the orders of their respective sect masters. Immediately, they roared in unison and unleashed numerous powerful attacks. All of them landed on the grand formation in the distance. The ferocious force caused the area around Yunlo Academy to become endless. Lin Hai had turned into a piece of scorched earth, leaving no trace behind. Let's go to. In the depths of an unknown giant vein in the capital of chaos, Black Nether Emperor looked into the distance. His face was covered by a black robe, and no expression could be seen. After saying that, he lightly stepped out with his right foot. In an instant, he soared into the sky, and two of his subordinates followed closely behind him. Under his feet, there was a pair of crimson eyes. It was a ferocious black flood dragon with scales all over its body. It was shining like molten iron, and it gave off an indescribably ferocious aura. Wherever the aura spread, all the spirit beasts and heavenly beasts trembled. They did not move at all and let out low, deep wails. Chapter end. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.